We're back out on the Bass Buggy, and today we're talking about the tips and tricks that you need when fishing from the bank in the fall. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and today it's all about bank angling in the fall. A lot of guys, they struggle during the fall. They say that they just can't locate the fish. And I can understand that, but today we're going to go over in detail how to locate the fish, the tips and techniques and presentations that I'm using once I find the fish. It's not all that hard. That is why the fall time of the year is one of the two best times for a bank angler to catch their PB. The other being in the spring during the spawn, whenever you can sight fish beds. In the fall, something very similar happens. As that vegetation dies back, that water clears up and is being drawn down, you can see those fish right there, crystal clear, hiding in timber, hiding in brush piles. So a lot of times you can just sight fish. But a lot of days it feels like you're going to spend your time chasing your tail, not being able to find any fish at all. So we're going to go ahead, head out on the water, and I'm going to show you some things about how to locate the bass and what to throw, some techniques that work for me after I find them. It's really not that hard, so come on. Here we are at the little lake, and it's a really nice calm day. You can see we've got the lake to ourselves. It is a gorgeous, beautiful fall day. And the thing is, and those fish are going to be chasing bait. They're going to be chasing whatever the forage species in your particular fishery. They could be chasing shiners, they could be chasing shad, minnow, sunfish, cisco, alewife, perch, whatever. That's what they're going to be on more than likely this time of year. Now, what's going to happen is those fish are going to start coming more shallow, especially in the northern fisheries. You're going to see the vegetation starting to die back as we move colder and colder into the winter months of the year, and that's going to reduce the amount of oxygen in the water, and it's going to cause everything to move up more shallow. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean towards shore, but they will be moving more shallow to more oxygen-rich water. Forage species and the bait fish will be moving up toward more shallow water, not necessarily towards shore. You'll be looking at shallower flats and humps and points and ledges and things like that. And those bait fish are going to move up into those areas, and the fish that feed on them, the bass, the walleye, and whatever, they will certainly follow. But that's what we're doing. We're basically we're going to be mimicking bait fish as best we can. Shad are going to be the biggest prey species for a lot of the country. Now, there are no shad in this particular body of water, but what there are small minnows and bait fish. There are small minnows, and there are small sunfish, and those are going to be the main forage species in this particular body of water. But those fish are going to be moving up shallow. The bass are going to be moving up shallow as those bait fish start to move up shallow. And right now, this is the time of year when the bite can really start to pick up. This is going to be the time of year when you're really looking for that bite. We're coming out of the summer months. The bite is getting a lot better as the weather cools down. And I'm going to try out this jerk bait. Try and get down to where I want, and then I'm kind of working it on a slack line. And that's how I'm doing it, so I can get, and the reason why I'm doing it that way is so I get, so it doesn't go straight like a crankbait, so it switches and swishes and dives and swoops. So that's kind of how I'm fishing this. And we're going to give it some pauses. You know, this is completely differently from how I fish it in the summertime. In the summertime, I'm burning that thing. No pauses. Jerk, crank, really, really fast. But that's not how I'm doing it today. This is, the water's starting to cool off a little bit. Oh, there we go. Ooh, that one's nice. Stay down, stay down. There we are. And success. The fall jerkbait bite, kids. It's really, really, really hard to beat. Oops. Oops, pretty little. Come on, buddy. I know. Let's get a good look at you. He's pushing a pound. You know, that's just how we're working it. This is a really nice, easy. He's got sort of a rough tongue, but this is a hybrid. We've got these hybrid bass in here. So he's a pretty fish. All right. Thank you, little guy. Again, 3/4 of a pound, between 3/4 of a pound and a pound. Not bad, not bad. All right, little dude. Thank you. But you see, now there's a flat out there by that old sign. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's a place where the bass congregate right now. And there is, I mean, it's flat and then it's almost like a hump. It's got deeper water access all the way around it. Now I can't make it from this side. I can't cast from this side and make it there, but I can from the other side, and we may do that here in a little bit. But that's an example of what I'm talking about, that just because the fish are going shallower, it doesn't mean that they're going to be going closer to the shore. Now we've actually I'm starting to see some of the vegetation start to die back a little bit. We are just now coming off of the peak time of the year. In my area in South Mississippi, the vegetation reaches its peak in September. And it's going to take it a while to grow back, to die back actually. And that's kind of our thing, is we don't really ever have a true winter down here. It's, you know, it's just too far south. We have winters about like Florida, you know. We just really don't have winters. It may get cold for a little bit, and by cold, I mean like down in the 40s one night. It may even dip close to freezing, but it's certainly not going to stay that way for very long. By sunrise, that temperature's already back up. And we may have one cold snap a year where we get a week, if that long, of temperatures that are in the 40s during the day. And it's usually in January, but it doesn't ever last very long. Anyway, I'm working this little Texas rigged fluke. I've got a 1/8 ounce bullet weight on here. I'm trying to keep it as light as I can, and that's mainly for casting. I do not have it pegged. I've got my spinning gear. This is my little spinning combo, and I've got 10-pound braid, and I'm working this is a medium light rod. So it's got a lot of flop to it. It's got a very soft tip, and it's got a lot of parabolic bend, and that's what I'm looking for when I'm fishing something like this. I want to be able to load that rod up I want to be able to load that rod like that. There we go. Come on, you. There we go. Oh, it's a little dink. Yeah, it's a little dink, but come here, little dink. That's a nice little fish right there. Let's see. he is cold. This fish is cold, cold, cold. And it's too early for it to be cold. This is that's a little spot. That is a straight up spot. You see like the leopard on the side. You see how it's broken here on the tail. It's got the spots on the belly. And definitely the tongue is rough. This is a full little spot. Little quarter pounder, but we caught it on the fluke. We caught it on the little 1/8 ounce fluke. And that tells us that we're in the right area. See how the wind is getting pretty strong through here? I know you can hear it in the microphone. So use that as your advantage. Use that to your advantage. So if you can get the wind to your back and make bomb casts out there, that is something I recommend doing. Use the elements to your advantage. Make bomb casts if you can, especially in gin clear water. I mean, that's going to be the name of the game, is getting your bait out there as far as you can, a lot of times. That just helps you find fish, especially if you're like looking at flats, like you're looking at shallow flats that the fish may be on. See the wind change direction right there, and I used it to cast further this way. It's blowing from behind my back. It's, I mean, we've got the current going this way from a lot of wind. And then I had a gust of wind that was blowing straight behind my back this way. So I made a cast while I had that. Use the wind to your advantage. This is the little blue Ozark Trails jerkbait. And in the winter time, I've had a lot of success with this thing. It floats. It's a floater, which is not terrible a lot of times because there we go. Well, first cast. I mean, it's a dink, but that's what I'm talking about right there. This is a little spot. I can tell by the way that guy was fighting. That is a little spot. And first cast. Oh, good. We're recording. If I can get off, I gotta get the pliers for you, buddy. I want to get this guy undone and back in the water as quickly as we can. And he's not going to help his cause any. Oops, yeah, get covered in dirt. Well, he got the mouth hook out. Let's get the body hook out. Just got to get it out of there. Okay, there he is. A little quarter pounder with cheese, maybe a side of bacon on it. But caught him on that jerkbait, on that Ozark Trails, and there he went. He's good. Thank you, buddy. Very first cast. So there you go. Fall time of year does not have to be so difficult. As the water temperature cools down, that bite is going to heat up. Those fish are looking to feed up for those winter months ahead. A bank angler can catch just as many fish, just as big a fish, as any angler in a boat. It's all about knowing what to look for, knowing how to locate those fish, and finding what presentations work best for you. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.